and welcome to The Last Hit. We are here with episode number 6. I've remembered what episode it is this time. I'm Munchables. I'm joined today by Dagda and Mazel, one of our two new casters. We had Mad on this week. We got Mazel on this week. I can't talk apparently, but Mazel, over to you, mate. Do you want to give me? I'll give you a second here to just introduce yourself and say hello to the audience.
I don't know, man. You already did me such a wondrous kindness there. I appreciate the intro. Thank you so much. Spent a lot of time casting in the amateur scene, especially the proving grounds, the scouting grounds in North America, and just happy to be a part of the team here in the LPL.
Yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome in the team, and you've definitely been helping us out while we've been struggling a little bit with the logistics of the rosters, with
just
people moving around and whatnot. Speaking of which, we've got Dagda over there tuning in from China. How are you doing, mate? How was quarantine?
I'm good. I'm through my first week. I got my test done yesterday, so officially COVID-free once again after the 9 tests it took me to get here, whatever it was. So, it's going well. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that you guys are actually capable of talking right now, because after the super weekend you two just did, plus the cast today, I'm actually surprised you're still standing.
I mean, let's be honest, based on the intro, I'm not capable of talking or standing because I'm literally sat down. It's been a long weekend, but hey, we've got tomorrow off. Tomorrow is Tuesday. We're recording on Monday right now. It's 2:40 p.m. in the UK as we record this. So we get a couple of days off, which is nice. Let's move on with the podcast, though. Let's get into this because I know everyone at home is going to be listening, and I can feel it already that people are on the edge of their seats. They're just thinking to themselves, when's Guess the Player? Is Guess the Player happening this week? I can't wait for Guess the Player. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's back. Guess the Player. Everyone's favorite segment is here. To explain the rules quickly for anyone that doesn't know already, Guess the Player. We've got 3 different players that I'm going to be offering to these 2 contenders that they can guess. I'm going to give them 3 clues. The first clue, if they guess it on the first clue, they get 3 points. Then 2 points for the second, 1 point for the third clue. And whoever gets more points at the end is the winner for the episode. So, without further ado, I'll start with the first player. After each clue, you both can take a stab, and it's fine if you both give me the same answer. There's no exclusivity here with the guesses. So if you both think the same player, that's okay. So, player number 1, the first clue, and this is pretty vague because I feel like this includes a couple of players here, but
setting it up
this
right.
player is a player in the LPL since 2016.
Oh.
Oh, goodness.
God. I'm just going to start off by saying you forgot to send me the cheat sheet for today, so if you just ping that over.
I didn't send on purpose this time, because I have a couple of times now accidentally sent everyone the answers, so I'm glad I got that under wraps now. But yeah, so player since 2016. Give us some guesses here.
God, I don't even know. See, I'm good with all the 2015, because I know that was kind of the Korean Exodus, but now I'm like, who actually is here from 2016?
So if you're not sure, just take a stab at an older player, and we'll go to the second clue. It doesn't have to be right at the first clue, guys. There's not this much pressure.
But I want all the points, Munchables. I want
you can't
the
put
points.
points and make it a competition.
Just
and
guess
then
the right answer, then. Just guess the right answer. Then you get the points.
No big deal, right?
I'm going to go... No, he was 2018, wasn't he?
All right, you got...
God, this is so...
5 seconds. Guys, you have 5 seconds to give me an answer, or I'm going to just say...
I'm going to go with Xiaohu. I know it's probably not right, but I'm going to go with
Xiaohu.
I'm pretty sure he's 2017, but I'll go Longxing Xiaoal. But
okay, so we got the RNG massive. Both incorrect. So second clue.
Of course.
This player, this one should open it up a little bit. I feel like Rob at very least will know the answer off of this one, but we'll see. Clue number 2. This player used to be on the organization SKT.
SKT coming to LPL.
I feel like I've set Rob up now. He's not going to know.
I know. I think, I know who it is. I'll let Mazel go because I don't want to.
Oh, come on!
I think I know. Yeah,
Hold on to the points.
Yeah.
All right, just give us. I'll give you a bonus clue here, Mazel, just to make it a little bit easier. This player is a mid laner, so just think of good mid laners in the LPL right now, and that will help close it a little.
Came over from SKT. That's a good question. I know I'm wrong. I know I am already. But I'm just going to say Rookie, I guess. I know he's not actually.
So
but,
it's a good guess because Rookie is a Korean, right? But
yeah, but
unfortunately,
off.
not correct.
I believe it's the guy who trained under Faker. I think it's Scout.
It is Scout. You are absolutely
Yes.
correct. So he didn't play in the LCK, but he was on the organization SKT. So and then
that's
the
where
third
the
clue.
specifics of the organization.
Yeah, that's why I very
specific.
specifically said that. So clue number 3 would have been he had his 23rd birthday this weekend because it was Scout's birthday.
Ah, bless.
All right, player number 2 then. This player, and this is a very original clue. Are you ready for this, guys? This player has been an LPL
Plays in the
player
LPL.
since 2016.
Oh my god, I see it.
All right,
You're
okay.
killing me.
God damn it. Scout.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Let's go.
All right, final answer from Rob there. It's not Scout. Over to you, Mazel.
Wait, what?
Oh
I
my
haven't
God.
cheated.
You gave me an answer.
I know he's not necessarily playing right now, but Baolen.
It's not Baolan either. All right, so second clue. This player is one of the 3 genius AD carries of the LPL.
Oh my god. One of 3, huh?
Well, there was 3 players that were they collectively had the title the 3 genius AD carries of the
3
LPL.
geniuses.
Oh.
As I surreptitiously take a drink of my unbranded beverage.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Hey, man,
All right, I'm gonna have to pressure you here, guys.
I'll go with Loken. I'll just fire at Loken
Okay,
and leave it there.
Mazel.
Jackie?
It's not Jackie Love.
No.
So, I will say Jackie Love does fall under the category, but that's not the answer to the question. So that was a very good guess.
dang.
That
I
a
was
very good
close
guess.
at least.
The other AD carry that falls under this category for people that are curious is Abel, but I won't say who the actual answer is just yet. The third clue, and this one maybe we'll give it away a bit. This player is known as Banana Boy.
Oh, god damn it.
See, Rob's got this one.
So there's a lot of
The only
memes on
reason
Twitter recently about
It's because
this
he
one.
had the most ridiculous photo for his intro. It was just him holding a banana. It was the most ridiculous photo that I've seen. It was ridiculous.
That sounds wonderful.
I'm gonna see if I can find.
I was
the
gonna
photo.
say Munchables because every time I've cast with him, I've seen him eat bananas. But
I do eat bananas, but I am not Banana Boy, unfortunately. The answer. Well,
boy.
Rob, I'll let you say it.
Aye boy, it's aye boy. Yeah.
It is I boy, so Rob gets a point on that one. So Rob is leading with 3 points right now. So Mazel, this
I'm
one's
a
all
little
on
scared.
you.
I
If you can
gotta
get on
knock
first
this one
clue-
out of the park. If you start me off with another 2016, I don't
It's
know
not
how I'm gonna be
2016.
doing.
But just as
2015.
a bonus clue here,
yes.
as a bonus clue, I'll give you a little bit of extra. This one is also an older player, and very vaguely, this is similar to your guys' guesses on the first clue. So I'm trying to give you some ground to work off here.
Okay.
So this
All right,
player's
all right.
IGN is based off of his real name.
Oh.
So think about players.
I have an idea.
with
Yeah.
with names that could be Chinese names, but also
Yeah.
similar to the
Dude, I
guesses
think
you
I
went
just
with on the
doubled
first
down.
player.
At this point, I mean, I'm probably gonna
It's
be
not
wrong
someone that's
again,
been
but I'm
guessed
just gonna go-
previously, so don't.
No,
guess the same as well.
I almost just wanted to double in on Xiaohu, but no, now I'm
not
gonna
Xiaohu,
pull that
it's
one
not
back a little bit.
Is it LWX?
It isn't LWX. Over to you, Mazel. So think about the first 2 answers you guys gave and what I said in response, and that'll help give you a nudge in the right direction. Because we know it's not
It's
Xiao.
late at night over here. I don't have that much attention span. That is long gone from my brain.
Do you see back? I see light coming in the back of my room right
Yeah.
now. I don't know. This is changing it up. He's been an older player though. You said.
Yeah, he's been around a bit. He's been around a bit.
Xiaopeng.
Not
I
Xiaopeng.
don't think
It
he's
was
been around.
Ming. The answer is Ming.
Ming.
Oh, I
Oh,
never did. I never did. The
You never
other
did the rest of them.
clues.
oh wait, yeah.
Well, all right. I've ruined it now.
You sent the cheat sheet just verbally
Look,
this
okay.
time around.
The point, the competition was over though, right? Because I was thinking,
Yeah.
Mazel needs
'Cause
the
I
3
won.
points.
I absolutely won that one.
So the reason I was saying it based off of your first guess is because you guys both
'Cause the
guessed
RNG
RNG
massive.
players.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Ming. The other 2 clues for Ming, for anyone curious, was he's one of the fabled rookie recruits that came from Young Miracles, and also he is known for his affinity for feeding puppies because obviously he was famed as the support for Uzi.
Oh.
So, moving on
I
with the
actually
show.
kind of like that last little point though.
Yeah, let's that was a very kind of riddly clue. But anyway, let's go into failures and faves. So every week we take an opportunity to talk about one of the things in the league that we are excited for, one of our faves, and one of the things in the league that we are a little bit less excited about, one of our failures in terms of either the teams and their standings or a specific player or a specific topic. So I'll let you guys go in whatever direction you want with this one. Dagda, since it's been a little while since you and I got to talk League of Legends properly, I'll let you go first. Do you want to drop us your failure first, and then we'll go into faves to end on a
Yeah.
happy note?
I want to do a quick check that my internet is okay because I can see it dying a little bit. Hopefully, I'm not
I
too
can hear you,
robotic
mate.
and the Dagatron
You're
is
good.
not taking over. Okay, cool. So this actually changed a little bit from because we were set to record yesterday, and then we obviously had the games that happened today. But I'm gonna start off with my favorite anyway. Still fairly relevant. I think it's gonna be TT. I was really impressed with these guys, especially in their game against FPX. I think Team looked amazing in Game 1, where they started to do this kind of roaming death squad together. And then in Game 3, they still looked super competitive in the early game against FPX. And even today, they looked relatively okay. And then my failure was going to be IG, because they were sitting in 10th, and then they kind of started to... I was kind of like, what is going on? They just lost to Ora. But now it's actually Ora. So Ora came out today and lost to LGT. And I was like, hey, they're going to get that 10th place win, or 10 wins. They're going to like take over. They're looking good, top of the table. And like, of all the teams that I thought were going to find out Ora, it was not LGT. It was not that was not the best. I was like, FPX, okay, they could probably do it. No. JDG, WE, IG, no. It's LGD, one of our bottom place teams that has managed to upset the apple cart. So definitely I think it's Ora. I've been waiting for a little while to see this team kind of be figured out because their team fighting is just super chaotic. They don't really play front to back. It's iBoy looks really good on champions like Tristana because, well, it gives him the opportunity to reposition because his team has more than less abandoned him. So I think it was only a matter of time before Ora kind of got figured out, and at least we got to see a little bit here today against LGD.
Yeah, I think
I would have to say that it's a very interesting take on it, at least Dagda. As I'm just gonna go straight into my favorites and failures, and I will say it's the opposite. Exactly.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So we got
All right.
a little bit of spiciness here.
I guess
So
this is
my-
debate club then. This is debate club. Give me a count.
Yeah, it literally is just debate club. It's fine. My failure is TT. I see the strength that they showed today, you know, being able to come out and try and give something to IG, but I don't know what's going on in the locker room for me, but I saw so much potential in Captain, and there's so much development there, and to see him not being able to have that development in this spring split that, you know, is not going the best for TT, where they're looking for that developmental strategy here, I want to see that mentality switch, and I'm still so sad that there's a player with such a high ceiling that isn't getting that time played. And I know he didn't have the greatest showings towards the beginning of the year, but him in terms of Twyla Captain, like I feel like Captain has that higher ceiling.
yeah. I'm not even going to debate Mazel on that point. I agree.
I completely agree with that. Like,
I
I'm
need
kinda
him in
disappointed
there,
we haven't seen
man.
Captain much either. I will say,
especially
I'm-
like.
sorry,
Sorry, go ahead, Bunch.
Oh, we got the delay. We've got the
no.
cross-regional
Oh,
delay
no.
in play. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I also am sad to see how TT did today. They got absolutely slapped by IG, but I can't really ever call them a failure because my expectation of this team was incredibly low to begin with. So they kind of hit my expectations, honestly, in that series today. So, but yeah, I agree that I would love to see more Captain over Twyla.
Yeah,
And
I kind of agree.
gotta talk.
Oh, sorry. Oh, there's so much delay.
Sorry,
This is awful.
I know.
For context,
We'll
for
get
everyone,
there.
like so Dagda's in China, I'm in the UK, Mazel is in America, so we have 8 hours
Yeah.
difference in each direction. So it's
Yeah, just to make it as awkward as possible.
Yeah,
But
it
I
is
kind of
what
agree
it
with
is.
the TT thing. Is just like I never really expected this team to do well, and the fact that they have become proactive is a big win for me. But I do 100% agree with Mazel with the captain thing. Was just like I saw this guy come in. He looked great in the LDL and IG Young. IG Young Glory. I saw him come in. I was like, right, this guy is going to work wonders. And he's picking these super aggressive champions like LeBlanc and stuff like this. I was like, cool. All he needs is a little bit of help from Xiaopeng. Like, Xiaopeng just needs to play a little bit around this mid lane, like, buy some space. Specifically, I remember that LeBlanc versus Victor matchup, which is, like, all about having your jungler support the LeBlanc, because once you get the snowball rolling as LeBlanc, the matchup's over. Like, you can just run away with that. And he just never got the help he needed. So no matter how effectively he was trading, he just never really got any lead. And then a LeBlanc that's, you know, especially in the meta that we have, that's behind or even barely touching even, it's just never going to work. So I think Captain never really got a full swing at us really seeing what that guy was capable of.
And especially the fact that we saw Captain playing Karma. When they were playing, like, he played stuff like Karma. It's like, you've got Twyla. Do that with Twyla.
Yeah.
If you play Captain,
Yeah.
play the carries. Like,
They did. They did it today.
Hey, but they switched it up tonight.
Use
They
them
brought-
for what they're good at.
They brought Jace out for Twilight tonight, so they're just throwing us all for a loop.
I don't know. Yeah, I completely agree. So over to the other side, then, Mazel.
Yeah.
Who's your fave this week?
It's gotta be RA. I know they lost tonight, so it changes that outcome a little bit, but the story behind it has been so incredible. I personally am a big fan of iBoy. I love to see that kind of on a knife's edge gameplay. I know you've heard me talk about it a ton, Munchables, but in general, like that storyline, that rise to the top for them here is just such a great story to get behind. I know I'm sticking with the newbies. I know Munchables last week was talking about RA. I know he's the RA guy, but we gotta stick together, right? And I just think that RA in totality, like even though their performance tonight against LGD wasn't the greatest, like they still show that volatility that can work so well in the later parts of the playoffs and looking at the later parts of the season.
I can definitely get behind that enthusiasm because it's a team that's very fun, regardless of like level. I do want to say, I don't think I can claim the RA guy. I power ranked them high and then jumped straight off of the hype train as soon as it started going wrong. So I really can't take any kind of like, I saw this coming from this because I dipped at the first sign of any bad news. So yeah, you know, it's one of them.
You had the life jacket on already to go as soon as you got on the boat. It was
Yeah,
fine.
I'm like stood there with one of those orange rings around my neck, like they're really good guys. This boat won't sink, I promise.
I think the biggest problem I have with RA is just like if we start to see everything swapping back over towards like Jinxes and Varus and like immobile AD carries, iBoy's just gonna get dunked. Like the front line of RA has no idea how to do any sort of front lining. Like there's no buying space. There's no like idea of like, oh, I need to protect these guys behind me. It's just like go kill. Get that guy right there. It's just if that's going to be the case, like they're going to very quickly find that they struggle in a front to back team fight sort of style.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one, and it is one of those things where, God, I don't want to be one of these naysayers, but realistically, I do think scheduling wise, it's been very nice for RA. Like in terms of the opponents that they faced and when they faced them, there has been a lot of like really positive. So I just want to give context to this because I'm not sure if we ever actually said this on broadcast or not. But if you go on like Leaguepedia or whatever, look at the match history for RA and when they faced good teams, right? So they lose to BLG and then they lose to JDG. Then the win streak begins. They beat Rogue Warriors, sorry. They play against WE, but it's the week that Shanks can't play, or it was the week like immediately after Shanks comes back.
Yeah,
but it was when WE were really struggling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they face LNG, just as LNG starts to go into a big slump. Then they face TT, OMG, E-Star, Soul, whatever. Then they face FPX, but it's just after Baishang has only just joined the team, so it's like the kind of
first game.
yeah,
The
and
very
also
first game.
that was the like crazy series where it was like Karthus was #1 priority for both teams. That was actually a banger series, and it's not that RA hasn't played well in any of these series, but then they face V5, and then the series against IG was like, oh okay, they beat IG as well. This is a legit team, And then today they lose to LGD. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever.
You've still got the
give
life
up.
jacket on, right? At least like you're still ready to go if you want to jump off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess just what... Sorry, go on.
Munch had come paddling back around with his lifeboat. It was like, oh, I'm ready to go back, guys. And then just saw this, like, I'm going home.
I was like I'm swimming back up to the boat as it's like just above the surface. I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna float, and then it just explodes in front of me as they lose to LGD. It's been an adventure for Aram this split. I'm really curious how they'll do in playoffs, but that remains to be seen on seeding and stuff. So let's just quickly talk standings before we move on, because this episode is going to be like a bit of a community episode where we've got some questions from the community and we're going to go through, but let's just hit the standings first and recap where we're at. So for anyone that has not kept up particularly, we are blasting through the LPL. We're in week 9 now as we record this episode. We are 4/5 of the way through the split. RNG have lost a game. Well, they've lost 2 games. They'd already lost one. But JDG came back. And I think we should take a second and just react to that series specifically. Because JDG going 2-0 against RNG. I don't think anyone was expecting it at this point in the split. I don't think anyone was expecting RNG to take another loss this split, honestly, before playoffs. Like, RNG have been looking so good. JDG really looked lackluster up until this series, and then they come out of the woodwork, and it's beautiful gameplay as well. It wasn't just like this crazy messy series. It felt like smart JDG is back.
And I was so surprised. Like, every time. So the biggest thing for me was every time I watched a JDG series, it'd just be like, what in the name of God are these guys thinking? So, like, they try to invade off of bot pressure, and it's like they have, like, 2 minions, caster creeps even, that are going to hit the tower on bot side. It's like, you don't have prio there. That lane is just reset. Like, the bot lane can come across and help, and you'd look at, like, Kanavi is over at their wolves. He hasn't even got Loken and Luma with him. He's just gone. Like, 1v1ing the jungler as the rest of the bot lane comes over. You're like, this is not going to end well. And even then, when we got past that, they would always try and bite off more than they could chew. So, you know, they'd be trying to do Rift Herald and make a play in mid lane, and everything would just fall apart. But when I watched that series, it really, as you said, Munch, like, it looked like JDG had kind of gotten things back to basics, whereas, like, okay, cool, they're actually understanding where they can be in the map. They're not trying to overextend. They're not trying to push too much. They're just happy to take the small advantage and then turn that into a lot later on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things I got to see, especially out of it, is that clean, big brain play that we were always kind of looking for from JDG, and not being able to see that from them a lot. This split has been a little heartbreaking for me, because you look at this roster and you just see so much potential there, especially with how big of a performer Kanavi has been in the past, and not necessarily having the greatest of splits altogether as a whole. Yeah, it's got to be a little bit disheartening for them as well. So I love being able to take it to the top dogs here in this last week, and especially, you know, leading up into the playoffs. Like, those are the kinds of wins that you notch down. You're like, okay, yes, we got the win, but you feel a little bit better afterwards about it.
Yeah, definitely a big morale boost for JDG, but I think as well on the side of RNG, one of the first series where we've really seen someone kind of top gap against Xiaohu, right? Zoom, obviously an exceptional top laner. Like, I think Zoom has been one of the most consistent parts of JDG across this year anyway. But, like, it felt like Xiaohu struggled in this series. And that's one of the first times where we've really seen Xiaohu actually struggling. Like, because if you remember at the start of the split, Xiaohu came into the top lane. We were talking about the mages and how crazy the draft was for RNG because Xiaohu's up there. But actually, he started playing Gnar all the time. We saw his Camille come out. He was playing some top laners and looking pretty good doing it, to the point where he was in the conversation for, like, maybe sort of top 6 in terms of top laners, which is absolutely crazy when you think about that as a statement. But up against Zoom, he really, really struggled. And moving towards playoffs, that could be a really, really bad sign for RNG. Even though they're still first place in the standings, still very much like the king of the table, that is bad news for them.
I think the biggest thing for that series for me was just, like, why is Xiaohu trying to play the area that Zoom excels at, right? Like, when you think of Xiaohu, it's like Lucians and these, like, guys that are really, really good at controlling, like the Nara, as he said as well, controlling the side lanes, trying to use the push advantage you have, like, get damage onto turrets, extend the gold lead. And Xiaohu's really smart at playing out in these side lanes, like TP usage, understanding just how far he can stretch forward, how far he can extend. But his strength is not in frontline team fighting. And it really got exemplified on that Scion. Like, every fight I was watching on the Scion, he had no idea how to buy space for his team. Like, I was watching the decimating smashes that were just, like, either not being used at the correct times, or they were going off into no man's land, and you're just like... And even the ultimates, right? Like... I messaged Munch partway through the cast and was like, look, maybe if JDG were wearing a TCL logo, he might have hit one of those Scion ultimates, but he definitely wasn't hitting them onto JDG without it, because everyone was just going completely wide. And I think that was the biggest problem, was like, it didn't feel like RNG were playing to what are the strengths of RNG, which is side lane and smart macro and smart map play. It was like, hey, we're going to go into team fights, which is where JDG have always shown, and especially where Zoom has shown in just controlling that frontline space.
Yeah, there was, just for context, there was the one series where, I think, was it Xiao or was it the Shy? I can't remember.
It was Xiao.
Was it Xiao? Okay, yeah. He like
Xiao,
ulted
because there was then clips of him afterwards.
Banner like 3 times in a game. Yeah.
Yeah, there's clips of him afterwards on stream trying to show people. It's like, no, it's just impossible. Look, I just can't. It's just not happening.
You got to give the explanations there.
Oh god. All right. Well, let's move on with the show then, and let's move into our community questions, because I know that there's some people very excited about some of the answers here, and we've got some good questions as well. So I tweeted this out the other day, so check out obviously our Twitters if you want to potentially be involved in future episodes, because if this is a successful segment and people like it, then we'll probably do it again as well. So I'm going to start off with maybe the spiciest question, or at least in my opinion, one of the most interesting questions, and that is LPL All-Pro team. Who are your guys best in role right now? Because I think that it's a really interesting topic, this split, because there have been some like power shifts in terms of specific roles. So it's an interesting question to bring up. So we can kind of go role by role if you guys want, rather than dropping entire teams.
Yeah, I'm down. I think, yeah, let's go with that style, because
let's do.
I want it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the top lane then. Let's start with the top lane. We'll go.
Also,
we'll take it in
I'm gonna
turns
give
to
a
go
quick
first.
caveat for this. I way overthought this. When I saw that this question was going, I was like, all right, well, like, who's going to be the carry, and how does this person play that facilitates this style? And like, I got real deep into, because I'm in quarantine. I got nothing else to think about, right? So I got way too deep into this, but I had to like pull it back to not like go full ham. So I've got like a couple of like explanations that I got to go into, but other than that, we're good.
Okay, well, glad we got that context. Mine is going to be far more half-baked than that, but you know, we run with it. I'm the kind of guy that most of my opinions are based on the eye test, not on the analytics.
Nice.
So I'm a Mojo-based guy. All right, so Dagda, since you've thought about it very deeply, do you want to hit us up with your one first?
All right.
So we'll go through the trio, and then we'll debate.
So the top lane becomes hard because, as I said, I overthought this, and it kind of depends on who the support is. But
Support is top lane. Let's see where you go with this.
We'll get to it later, right? But basically, just straight off the bat would be Nuguri. I think Nuguri's been great. I know he's had a few shaky games, but I think that's kind of been FPX as a whole. And I certainly think that over the course of the split, we've seen Nuguri be really, really strong in that top lane, both on the weak side, if they want to try and play around him, and also, in general, he's been really, really strong in just controlling and dictating the pace of team fights plus side lane control.
Respectable. I think Nuguri's a very respectable answer. What about you, Mazel?
I'm gonna go with my first answer of the day on the guess your player. As I gotta say, it's Xiaohu, and I got a little explanation later on, and especially when you're comparing or bringing the pieces all together. But Xiaohu, for me, being able to transition to that top lane, still having those dominating performances. Yes, you're talking about those Scion ults maybe missing a little bit, but man, have you seen his Gnar ultis? Because god dang, like that's amazing to see from this guy, and just a little bit of that big brain mid lane play coming out from top lane, and having that pressure in the top lane for RNG has just been so strong for me. So I really like Xiaohu for that top position.
I agree with Xiaohu, and this is my second thing. This is where I overthought it was. Xiaohu is the other top laner I have, but if Ming is the support, so that they can play around Xiaohu and he can control side. So there's like interconnecting webs here, but we'll go further into it. But yeah.
Okay. You're maybe misunderstanding how all pro teams work. It's more about individual ability than it is about how they fit within their team.
Look, I have been in quarantine for 8 days now.
All right, fair enough.
Dude, this has been occupying my mind for a while.
This is what you got to think about. Yeah.
I'm going to go in with a bit of a curveball on this one because I'm going with someone that is totally down to recency. I'm saying 369. I don't care if he looked terrible for most of this split. He's back, baby. Those series that we've seen recently from him, he looks unbelievable. He looks like the 369 that we all know and love. When he's rolling nines,
9,000.
he's an absolute monster. So I'm all aboard. I'm all aboard with 369 at the top lane right there. The Jace looks amazing. The Gangplank looks amazing. And I think that, he's a very versatile player when he's playing well. So I think as we go in towards potentially a tank meta in the top side, I think he'll still be absolutely fantastic up on the top lane. So, with that said, let's move to the second role. So jungle. Now I feel like this is this one's a hard one. This one I feel like there's a lot of names that you could drop to put in the hat here, but since Dagda, you went first on the last one, I'll let you go third so you can peruse the options. Mazel, you're up on this one. I'll go first on the third one. Who's your best jungler?
So maybe I put a little bit too much Dagda thought into this one as well. I went with Wei for mine for RNG. I just feel like that combination, like the willingness to be able to help those tools around and still have a little bit of that playmaking ability in the jungle is huge to me, right? Because we're seeing a lot of the play in solo lanes dictate that early pace. How is the jungler affecting those? Where is the jungler really focusing on? And when you're looking at Wei, when you're looking at setting up these lanes for RNG, it's just been so good for them. And that early game is what I look at, and I've got to go with Wei.
Respectable. I think Wei is a very reasonable answer, honestly. I think he's probably at the forefront of that conversation at very least. But I don't think he's number one because I think that it's Beisheng. Let's go, Beisheng. Okay. We finally get to see a split where Beisheng has strong laners as well as being a good individual player. We've got a strong bot lane, we've got a strong mid lane, we've got a strong top lane, and Beisheng, he just has a whole playground to work with. He has access to both his jungle and the enemy jungle because he has laners now. How crazy is that? And it feels like he's just... Watching Beisheng play makes me happy these days because it feels like he can actually stretch his wings. It feels like he's... All of last year, he was training with extra weights. Now the weights are off. Now he's just free to run around the jungle and do whatever he wants.
Okay. I had three names that I was kind of considering here. And it was like Wei, Beisheng, and Karsa. Now, I eventually went with Wei. And the big thing for me here is I've been an RNG fan before I even came to the LPL, so there's obviously a lot of bias here. But I do agree with Mazel where he's been like super good when it comes to his understanding of where to be on the map, how to support his team, and then be able to bounce back from the deficits that he finds him in. And although like Beisheng is able to do that just as well, if not slightly better, and I think Karsa is probably a more extreme version of that control that I think Wei can offer. The big difference maker for me was just how clutch Wei can be in team fights. Like, if I'm staring down the barrel of a gun and I'm like, right, I need one of these junglers to show up big, I'm picking Wei and I'm putting him on Lilia. Like, every single time I've seen Wei pull out this Lilia pick, he's had massive 3, 4, if not 5-man sleeps, and it has been instrumental to RNG in winning these team fights. And that's why at the end of the day, like, I understand that like there are players like Beisheng who may pack more efficiently or pass slightly better, or Karsi who can control the game slightly better. But I think Wei hits a really good niche in several of those areas, while also providing that big team fight extravagance that I feel Beisheng and Karsi just don't quite hit.
I think that's a very intelligent answer. I will say you're wrong, but just know that I appreciate the quote that you.
There's intelligent, and then there's 5-head big brain, which is what Munch has, you know.
That's what Beisheng has. That's what Beisheng has. All right, let's move to the mid.
Sorry.
So you guys went first on those two, so I'll do the honors. I'll go first on the third category, which is the mid lane. And as much as I want to say Shanks, I don't think it's reasonable for me to say Shanks.
I would
and
be
I
really
actually
upset if you did.
I know. And so the weird thing is, I actually think that the mid lane role, even though when you think about LPL, you think, Knight, Rookie, like there's a lot of big names, right? But I actually think mid lane right now is pretty weak sauce in LPL. Like, both Knight and Rookie feel like they're underperforming recently. I'm gonna go with Scout, which I didn't expect to go with, but Scout's actually had a very, very good split for himself. He's been very, very consistent across the course of the series, and even in EDG's losses, it doesn't really feel like it's an issue of Scout. It feels like Scout is still performing pretty damn well. So I've been really impressed by Scout. I think he's a fantastic all-around player as well. I think he's a very intelligent player, which, some of the top players in LPL are known for more like their ability to outplay, even though they get in stupid situations. Scout isn't that kind of player. Scout feels like he's almost always in the right place at the right time, plays intelligently around side lanes, but also really great in the team fights. I think he is an absolute MVP kind of player, and I think he deserves best mid lane in the LPL right now.
I think it's interesting. I think the choice for Scout is really nice. I'm taking your lead. You're wrong. No,
Respectable.
Respectable. I went with a little bit of homegrown sauce, a little bit of RA sauce, if you will. I had to go with Fofo. I feel like Fofo, I've been screaming his name a lot, so the name's on the tip of my tongue at least. But the fact of the matter is, this guy has been a very solid piece to RA in that craziness, in the chaos that we've seen them develop in the trajectory that they've had in the LPL. He has still been this mainstay in the mid lane for me. That yes, he's there putting in the damage. Yes, he's there to pick up those team fights if they get dropped off by RA, and every single time it comes to fruition.
So I like the shout out for Fofo. I feel like he's kind of an underrated player in the league. So
yeah,
Dagda, hit me with it.
So I'm actually I'm on the same wavelength as Munch with this one. I really wanted to put Knight, and then every time I wanted to put Knight, I saw that sombrero shockwave where Shuo goes in, gets the 2-man knock up, and I suddenly see this over on the left-hand side of the screen. I was like, that's not the play. But I agree. I think Knight and Rookie have both been very much underperforming, so it's really hard to put them in there. And although I know, like, Rookie in his prime can have that clutch factor, it really feels like we're not seeing that from him right now. And with Knight having these, like, Knight was always... going back, I was always on the more Rookie hype train when it came to best mid laner. I think he offered more when it came to individual performances, but Knight's certainly a mid laner that kind of has a more supportive role in the team and can work very well within a team dynamic. But with the slump, I've actually swapped over to Scout as well. I just think that with those two guys underperforming and Scout having a fantastic split, I think it rightfully deserves to go to him. And I just want to give a shout out to Clement, because right back at the start of the year, Clement was like, look, with this EDG, Scout's going to have his best year. Or, well, best split that we've seen from him in a long, long time, because he has a team that's able to set him up for success. JJ will be able to play around mid lane, support him. He'll be able to pop off. The meta is even shifting into his things, like coming across from SKT. Like, when he was playing under Faker, he was known for, like, Syndra, Orianna, and Azir. Well, what are we looking at in mid lane?
Guess what?
Orianna's and Azir. This is his playground. This is where he shines. So I certainly think that, like, a culmination of factors have just led to the success of Scout. And if you stick him on a team with, like, the likes of Wei in the jungle, and if you're going with, like, Nuguri or Xiao topside, I still think he'd have, especially with Nuguri in that top lane, I think Scout would still massively, massively perform in this current meta.
I agree completely. I think I do think it's a really interesting conversation with mid lane though right now, and I like your answer there, Mazel. I like that Fofo's in the conversation because I think he's a bit of an underrated player. His stats are exceptional. I kind of wish we had Lyric here so he could have said Mole, even though he'd be 5 in 12th. Just to add an extra name to that conversation. All right, let's move on to AD carries then. So, Dagda, it's your turn to go first again. Who have you got for us?
So my one is just Jackie Love. I know Viper's been absolutely insane, but like every single time I go and I cast a Jackie Love series and I look at that bot lane, they're just stomping. Like, it's insane, just the dominance that these have. And this actually kind of like leads over to my support conversation as to who like best support is. But like, if you pair Jackie Love and Joe, you're just not losing bot lane. It's just not happening. And even the moments that we saw coming out from Jackie Love in like last split, where you just have these random moments where he'd like arcane shift over the wall as Ezreal into 5 people, and you're just like, well, this is just Jackie Love things. It's like, no, we're not seeing that now. Like, he is consistently being a very big carry for this team. He plays every single style and still looks obscene on it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like Samira or Kaisa or Senna or whatever the hell you want to, the Jhin as well. Like, every pick that he comes out with, he has just outperformed everyone on the map. So, and certainly when top esports were in the slump, we are all pointing towards Jackie Love going, this is the guy. This is the only guy alongside Karsa who's really, really performing. But certainly he's the star power here. And it's still keeping up for me as well. And as Shaw has become even better in that bottom lane, they've just grown together and just taken over on that bot side.
I can appreciate the Jackie Love point, especially and with the his history, his accolades, his performances. But I'm gonna go back to the literal striking Viper that you were mentioning earlier in the conversation. My ADC has got to be Viper, man. This guy is just too clean. He's too big brain. He's too heads up for myself to not put him in this position, especially in his positionings. His advantages that he finds in those team fights are just toe clean.
I definitely can respect that. Like I think his team fighting especially is what is really, really impressive to me about Viper. And like it's very clear that he is not afraid to be the superstar player. Like he's not, when that moment shows up and he can see it, he's not like, he doesn't like the confidence to just go and make that play, which I think is a really, really undervalued skill within League of Legends. But I'm going to side with Dagdo on this one. I mean, I've been drinking the top esports Kool-Aid all year.
It's not Juanfang or Jomong? I thought it was just going to be Juanfang or Jomong by default. I thought that
could have been. It could have been.
There was no conversation. It was just slotted in immediately.
This is Jackie Love. I like even my biases don't transcend the AD carry role. I have too much respect for all people that have made AD carry for 8 years, mostly myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jackie Love
there with you, buddy.
Also, he's a model. Like how can you have anything against this guy? Jackie Love, amazing performance so far this split. I think he's the best AD carry. And I actually think, based on recent performance as well, he is, on recent performance, he's been doing better than Viper. I think Viper was playing better earlier in the split, though. And I do think, when it comes to playoffs, that will really be the test for them both, right? Because, these random best of threes across a split, you're going to have a random series where you don't perform, right? It's not every series in a round robin is super, super crucial. So I don't think we should hold like specific rough series in the 16 best of threes that they play against a player too hard. But when it comes to those best of fives, that's when we'll really get to see like, okay, when it really matters, have you got the stuff? And I think those are definitely the two that I honestly think that there's Jackie Love and Viper, and then there's a gap before the next carry. So I'm really excited for how those guys show up in playoffs, and I'm hoping we get to see top esports versus EDG at some point, but later on in the tournament, like I want them both to go far in the tournament, and then we see those guys go head to head.
Yeah, get to semis, then we get them to the bottom, and then we can go again in the finals.
It's fine. Just want to see that matchup as many times as possible.
Exactly. Okay, so final roll then. Because we've really dug into this one. Let's go into the support role. So, Mazel, you're first on this one. Who you got?
Easy, crisp, and clean. Got Crisp coming in for FPX here in the support role. I just feel like he's been so good. And a lot of the meta right now, obviously, is getting that support roaming, getting him on the map, getting the jungle tension, and just being that synergistic force on the team. And I feel like Crisp has been able to epitomize that, right? He's been able to be all over the place while still being able to have a supportive role in the bot lane as well. And he has just been the strongest support in my eyes, at least.
Respectable, I kind of I was torn on this one a little bit because I definitely considered Crisp as well. I'm kind of surprised that I've come in here and not said a single FPX player, because like if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I was well and truly aboard the FPX hype train.
You just changed the Kool-Aid.
I've changed which Kool-Aid I'm drinking from. No, as much as I would love to, I can't say Joel. It's not happening. I think the answer for me has to be Ming on RNG. I have a feeling that Rob is going to agree with me on this one as well, because he literally mentioned Ming when talking about why shows.
A little foreshadowing.
I think Ming is just so intelligent. I think the way he plays with his jungle as well, the way they control the map is just, it's so impressive, honestly. And there's almost like an element there of when you think about how Mata used to play the game, it was all about control of the game. It was all about control of where your opponents are, knowing absolutely every little bit of information, and it feels like there's a semblance of that with the way that Ming plays.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like, I'm kind of with you, like, especially with Jackie Love as AD carry. I would have loved to push Yo, but he's just not 100% fully there. Like,
I wanted to say that.
First place. And, like, I wanted to, yeah, I was just like, look, I mean, if I want bot lane dominance and I'm just there going to crush people and I'm only caring about lane phase, it's like, cool, it's Jackie Love and Joel, because the synergy that they have together, how they feed off of their aggression together, works so incredibly well, and they are stomping people. It's not even close how much they are controlling that bot side of the map. But this is an entire Summoner's Rift. It's not just about that bottom lane, and certainly Ming has been so damn clever when it comes to it, and especially, like, I've kind of touched on a couple of times, is like, when you look at RNG's compositions, like, we have Xiaohu, yes, on things like Gnar, but most of the time, they're really relying on Ming to be that engage tool, and he's stepped up every single time. Like, we've seen that insane. It was against LNG where he had that insane Rel engage where he gets in onto 4 members, it gets that big ultimate, the slam down, and then sets up way for the 4-man's sleep. There's times on Alistair where he's doing the same thing. He just dictates the entire pace of the game, and that's not even, like, that's the whole map. And even if we just look at him on the bottom side of the map as well, he's no slouch. Like, Gal and Ming have been getting a bunch of duo kills. They're controlling that bottom side of the map, but it's just how strong that Gal and Ming have been has actually allowed Ming to move around as well and have a lot more presence across the board. So when I look at, like, every box across the map, I mean, Ming is the standout performer pretty much across all of them.
I was just having a look through the list of supports just to round out the topic, and it's really interesting with support in the league right now, where we have most of the top teams either have a veteran support that's been with the org for forever and are, like, pretty much a franchise player, or complete rookies. There's, like, no in between. Like, when you look at RNG, it's Ming. When you look at EDG, it's Mako. When you look at WE, it's Missing, who's been there for ages. FPX Crisp, right? These are all veteran players. Then Rare Atom, you've got Hung coming in. This is only, I think, his second year of professional play. Yeah. You've got Duo on Top Esports. Lu Mao, who is obviously a veteran on JDG, then on for Suning, right? There's this theme of, like, either they are pretty much brand new or they've been around for ages. So it's just a really random tangent there, but I thought that was interesting at the very least. So those are our all-pro teams. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know who we missed out, who should have been in the all-pro teams. Tweet at us. Get involved in the conversation. Hashtag LPL. We've got a little picture on the hashtag now, so that's exciting.
It's so great.
So, next topic. These are topics off of Twitter, so don't flame me for these questions, okay? Flame people on Twitter. Don't flame anyone, of course. But so, second question, and this one's a spicy question. Who's worse, Spring 2020 V5 or Spring 2021 Rogue Warriors? What do you reckon, guys?
Oh. I don't think there's I like the heads up, or I like the head to head on that one, but I still feel like RW are looking better than V5 did last year. I mean, they at least have a win, right? They at least are able to get that one. And the other fact is, like, RW actually has some star power, like, with past successes, but they had some star power. V5, it was not even being able to count on a single member of the team.
Yeah, I think there's, like, a couple of things. Like, Rogue Warriors have a win. They have set positions. They haven't played Nico. It's like, you know, there's several things that are kind of working for Rogue Warriors'
the differentiation.
I just want to add one little extra thing there, is that Rogue Warriors literally beat Top Esports this split. They went 2-1 against Top Esports to start the split out. I was so hyped
don't check
after
when
that
it was,
series.
but...
I was like, oh my god, Rogue Warriors is the best team in the world. Let's go. Obviously, that's not true, but, you know, so I think the conclusion is V5, the winless split, still is going to live on. So the next question, this one's kind of a hard question. Who is your rookie of the split, guys? Because this is a tight competition.
Easy.
Is it? Go on then, Mazel.
Mine was pretty easy.
Shun has to be my dude. Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to say it, man. I feel like for IG, I know IG have been performing that well, and maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Maybe I'm taking after Munchables. But
Yeah.
Well, that'd be hysterics if it's IG.
But I just absolutely love Shun, right? And it's not just the fact that like this guy is, and I know I mentioned it on broadcast earlier, but the backbone for IG for right now for me. But it's being able to play between these two veteran star carries in the Shy and Rookie, and still having performances that put him above them, right? I mean, I've seen so many times that Shun is this carry, is this momentum for IG, and it just is so exciting to see. And I just want to see where this guy's trajectory ends up with him.
Oh, I like it. I think it's a good answer. I like that.
It's actually interesting to see, just kind of touching on that like, well, so to answer, rookie split for me as well, but certainly I think the rookies that we're all going to kind of be looking at is the ones that have that veterancy on the roster with them, because like you look at IG, rookie's been super good at working in with Shun and kind of like holding his hand to a certain extent, and then when we look across at top esports, I mean, you're playing with a world champion in the bottom lane, it's going to make things easier, but certainly I think Zhuo has, the reason I'm going with Zhuo is how big of an impact he made. And I don't just mean that because Yanja wasn't great. Like, look, let's call a spade a spade. But at the end of the day, like, Zhou has transformed how top esports are capable of playing. Because when we think back to summer 2020, they were all about these long-range compositions with, like, the Zoes and the Caitlyn's and Ezreals, and these things can play from really far back. And it forces our opponents to engage in on top of them. And that was kind of what we were talking about coming into playoffs. This was a lot of what we saw in their style. But when we come into spring 2021, because Joe is like, I'm going in, boys, I hope you're coming, they've completely changed how they're able to play the game. And now we're seeing these like dive compositions that are coming in. They can still play these long range comps if they want to. But like, because of the aggression that Joe has lent to this team, like, well, just collaborates, I'll say, alongside this team. Like, he stepped up massively. He looks so good in this team. And it's not only that we saw him come in, it's like, oh cool, now they got engaged to it. You can see the growth over time for this guy, and when they've been picking up the second most dual lane kills in the league, I think Sam D of all people is the one who actually has the most dual lane kills in the LPL right now. But other than that, I still think that just speaks volumes to how dominant this is. And when you look at the star power we have in bot lanes right now between supports and between AD carries, the fact that Joe has been able to slot in as a rookie and contend, if not outperform a lot of these guys, speaks volumes to this dude.
So I'll revisit that topic, I think. I'm going to say two answers here. My first answer is Viper, because technically he's an LPL rookie, and he's looking real good.
In my little segment before, I skipped over it, but I had that. I would have said Viper. I think Viper is good, but he's not a rookie.
He's not rookie. He's not rookie. Let's be honest. Technically, he's an LPL rookie, but he's not rookie. So my actual answer, and I don't really know if this is allowed as an answer, but Bo is my rookie of this split. How can I say anyone other than Bo?
No, okay.
Like, the guy was a monster. He just came in and just blew everyone out of the water. Suddenly was just amazing. He was the lifeblood of FPX. Like, come on. Even if he doesn't play for the rest of the split, he's still my rookie of the split, and I think he still is.
So who's your actual
answer?
Who's your actual?
I was gonna say, where's the real one?
Okay, if I'm not allowed to say Bo, then I think I would side with Rob on this one and also say Joel. But that's mostly because I'm like drowning in top esports Kool-Aid. So you know,
have you?
Sorry,
so what was your list then? Wasn't it? What was your list? It was 369. Who was your jungler? It wasn't Cars. No, it was Beijing.
No, I didn't.
How many top esports people have we got here?
I didn't say Knight.
3 out of 5. Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Anyway, so let's move on.
Must have run
Those
out
are
of the
our rookies.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with Bo. Like Bo.
Okay.
Yes, even if I'm not allowed, I'm the host. If I make the rules, I don't care. It's Bo.
This is my show, damn it.
All right. So, next question. Out of the teams currently qualified, who is your favorite playoff team? Now, that is the specific wording that they used, and I'll let you know that this was RNG who asked on Twitter. So,
Of course it is.
so feel pressured if you want to, but I'm just going to answer honestly. I'll go first if you guys want. It's top esports. I think everyone already knows. It's top esports. They're going to win the split. They're going to win MSI. They're going to win Summer. They're going to win Worlds. And they're going to dominate the world for the next 20 years. I'm so far gone on the top esports hype train. let's move on. Dagda, you can go next.
I am actually like, I'm gonna flatter them because I said in the last podcast that I was on, it is RNG for me. Like, these guys have been most consistent. I know that we saw them obviously falter, but I still think that these guys look the most consistent. Their map play is the best. I think they have the best game plan, and with support for me right now being the strongest role, I also think they have the strongest support in the game, and that's why RNG. I'll take a Ming jersey when you get a chance. If you can just do it out in my size, just scroll across the back. Maybe have him sign it, make it out to Dagda at the LPL studios. Thanks, catch you.
Can I have one as well, by the way? I didn't say your team,
you're
but
throwing
I'd like
them in.
one,
like,
so.
I know I'm new and all, but come on, I'll take one too.
Look, I'm an unbiased caster, so I think that deserves rewards, you know? Just being a real journalist. No, okay. Anyway, moving on.
Were we just talking about Kool-Aid and...
Yeah. Mazel, over to you, mate. Who's your favorite for playoffs?
All right. Well, I was gonna start this off by saying, do you guys like rockets? Because there's a rocket that's flying through the LPL right now. It's Rare Atom. So I'm still sticking with Rare Atom as my favorites, even though there was a little faltering on the launch pad here tonight against LGD. I still I'm gonna take that literal translate the favorite, and I have to say throughout this split especially, and being able to cast a lot of their games, they are my favorite. I love you, RNG, and I know you do amazing things. But RA have showed up so well for me.
All right, fair enough. I'm not going to criticize it too much because we are running low on time here.
I was just going to say when RA got revamped and remade, they made a deal with the devil that they could beat all playoff teams, but they just didn't specify the bottom part of the league. You know?
It's the monkey's paw.
It was the fine print. Come on, nobody reads the fine print.
Hey, luckily for them, none of the bad teams are going to be in playoffs, so I guess they're going to win the whole thing.
Perfect. I'm right on that high train.
So, final question then, and I really, really like this question. This is a really good question. So, out of the teams that are below 6th place, who is going to perform best in the summer split? I think that's a fantastic question. So I can go first if you guys want, if you haven't thought about it, because I already know.
I'm going to double check who's in 6th because I feel like it's been spotted.
So top esports are in 6th right now. Then it's JDG, Suning, LNG, IG, BLG, Victory 5, LGD, OMG, TT, E-Star, and Rogue Warriors are your selections.
Is it 6th and below, or is it below 6th?
No, below 6th.
Because it comes very
close.
Very specific on the below 6th.
Look, I'll give you guys the answer already. All right, it's Suning. They're the summer squad anyway. They always kind of suck in spring. They're going to come back. They're going to be the best team in the world. Back-to-back Worlds finalists. The second time around, they're going to take it. I take it back. I'm completely biased. So don't send me a jersey RNG, I guess. That was my logic on that regard. Mazel, do you want to go next?
I got mine. Yeah, I got mine lined up here. It's gonna be a little bit longer of an answer, but I have to go with IG. Going through a lot of growing pains here in this split, especially trying to get some of that new blood in, and some of those new players still having that solid base to build on. I see a lot of good potential, especially bringing into the summer, maybe some changes, maybe some differences in play styles. But coming into summer, E-Star to the moon, baby. I know it's a little bit of a meme. My actual answer is going to be IG, but I gotta say, it's gonna be really fun to see.
All right, respectable. Yeah.
All right.
Like
I feel like he's all forgotten. The secret weapon, the little bit of magic, the mystic that JDG has brewing in quarantine right now. So JD Gaming is going to be my answer. I think certainly when Mystic comes into this roster, and with the meta shifting over towards these hyper carries, I think Mystic is going to be a really, really strong addition to this lineup. And we've already started to see, hey, look, they're figuring out the issues, right? The biggest issue that JDG have right now is, look, they try to play this super heavy jungle style, and they're just not very good at it, which is like playing through Kanavi, trying to get into the jungle. It's just not working for them. And especially as people kind of figured out how to play against this, and as people got used to the jungle style of meta that we had, JDG just fell to the wayside. I think when we start to shift away from that, even more so in the summer, this team's going to pop back. Kanavi's absolutely monstrous on picks like Lee Sin and stuff that I'm very excited to see him bring back out if we do go fully in that direction. But even just Kanavi's mechanics in general, you got Mystic who's going to be coming up from the bot side. I still think Yagao is a super strong mid laner for them, really consistent in that mid lane. And Zoom's a beast. It's 100% going to be this team.
I can respect the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be Mystic that changes things, but I definitely think JDG will look a lot better for summer. But yeah, we'll wait and see. I think we all kind of copped out on this one because we said the 3 easiest answers out of the list. So
Hey, I said E-Star at the end of mine, so I
yeah, as a joke, I'm gonna say Rogue Warriors as a joke.
time,
Like,
but here's
make
the
my
thing.
answer of
Like,
getting better.
But here's the thing, like, if you actually look at, like, 6th and below, it's like, all right, top esports.
Yeah.
Right?
There's so
JD
many
King,
top teams,
Sunny,
right?
LNG, IG,
Yeah.
V5. It's like, you just cop out if you say any of them. Like, it doesn't matter.
LPL's too stacked. All right, anyway, that is going to be the end of the episode. Thank you so much, everyone that gave us questions online. We are, I think, just broaching the hour mark. So very quickly, guys, final little thing you want to say to the audience as we close out the episode. You go Mazel, then Dagda, and then we'll round out the episode.
I just want to say thank you for being up late here with me, Munchables. Thank you for sticking with me. And thank you for being awesome as the both of you. I appreciate everything you guys have done, and I appreciate being a part of the team. So I'm just happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you very much for joining in and
thanks,
helping out in our time of need. Mate. It's much appreciated.
Well, I'm actually going to throw it right back at you, Mazel, because I wanted to say a big thank you to yourself and also to Mad Magical, because honestly, with obviously myself and Penguin being in quarantine at the moment, we are kind of locked away from everyone. So you guys have been absolutely superb on the broadcast, and a massive, massive shout out to you guys for just how amazing you've been stepping in, and with the amount of games and series that you guys have had to cover, you've absolutely smashed it. So big shout out to you guys. And hopefully we'll be back and I can actually cast with you soon in whatever a week's time when I get out of
That's
here.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Echo that sentiment as well. Bravo, guys. But with that, we're going to close out the episode. This has been episode 6 of The Last Hit. Make sure you tune in next week as well. Make sure you're tuning in to week 9 of the LPL. It is already rocking and rolling. And you know what? We're getting close to playoffs, guys. So you better start picking your favorites as we head over there. But with that, that's going to be the episode. So we will see you guys in Champ Select.